All right. Well, thanks for everyone for coming along this morning.
Yes.
It's a very, very special time of the year here at Good Shepherd as we today launch our Safe Families Christmas Appeal. I'd like now to just hand over to our Chief Executive, Robin Roberts, who will tell you a bit more about that. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody today to Good Shepherd, and thank you for coming along. And before we commence, I'd like to firstly acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. So as Susanna said, today's a really exciting day for us. We're here to launch our Safe Families Christmas Appeal. The Safe Families Fund provides emergency assistance to women and children who are escaping domestic violence. And our funds at the moment are now critically low. We've got a very high demand for this emergency assistance during the year, and we're now seeking the support of Victoria, the Victorian community, to boost these emergency funds for women and children to help them become safe. I'd now like to introduce Renee May, our Appeal Ambassador, and we're very pleased to have her here today. Renee's going to talk a bit about her own experience of family violence. Renee is the founder of Bra Queen. She's also a lingerie expert and a business mentor. And I'd like to make you welcome now, Renee. Thank you.
Thank you. I was having this conversation with someone over the weekend. We were talking about today and Good Shepherd and domestic violence, and she was telling me how someone that she works with gets beaten by her partner, gets abused, and she said every time she has a couple of days off, she knows that when she returns, she's been physically abused by her partner. And then these 5 words escape her lips, and it's the words that escape everyone's lips so freely when we talk about family violence. It's, why doesn't she just leave? I don't blame her for asking the question, because it's the same question I ask myself on numerous occasions. It's the same question I ask my mother. But this time, I know the answer. It's because the embarrassment and the shame and the loneliness and the fear, it fills every inch of your mind, your body and your spirit. You're scared to leave and you're scared to stay. And it's just kind of what you know, because you don't know any other way. Depending on the day, it can depend on whether it's a threat against your life or theirs. So it's never as simple as those 5 words that just escape so freely from our lips when we talk about this silent thing that happens in so many homes around the world. So why does it happen, and how do women find themselves in this situation? I can only tell you my story. My parents separated when I was young, and I didn't really know what love looked like. I know that they were happy at one time, but I kind of just remember the fights. Pretty soon after that, Mum was in an extremely violent relationship, and it went on for many years. We would watch her get beaten, and then when he'd had enough of her, he would beat us and abuse us. So I understand that question, because I asked that question of my mum. Why would you allow this to happen, not just to yourself, but to your children? I couldn't understand. So family violence is so deeply seeded into children, and it can be deadly. And when it's not deadly, it can take a lifetime for us to heal, and it's ongoing. I attracted a man, and I soon experienced the exact same violence I was trying to escape. The beatings hurt so bad, but nothing hurt more than the fear, the shame, and the embarrassment that I felt. I felt like I was living 2 lives. I managed 2 successful businesses. I had a big smile on my face. I just longed for people to look into my eyes and just see the pain that I was in and help me out. Because once again, I was living this silent life that no one knew about. The beatings went on, and so did the threats. I knew he couldn't control his anger, so all I could do is pray every day that no one had made him angry, because otherwise I would pay. Pretty soon I got so tired and so exhausted, and I just had enough. So I tried to break up with him, and he came at me where I was sitting down. He grabbed me by the throat where I was sitting down, and he squeezed and he squeezed and he squeezed. I couldn't breathe. I was dangling in the air. My roommate was at work and not due to finish for hours. I couldn't breathe. I seriously thought I was going to die that day. But the universe had other plans. My roommate, she walked through the gate. He dropped me to the floor. He went, and I fell to the floor like a sack of potatoes, and I cried in a ball for hours. Felt like hours, I don't even know whether it was. I stood up and I wrote the words, "I have to break the cycle and stop the war because I've had enough." I didn't leave. Women in these situations see the good side in these men. And we think if we can just bring out that good side, then the bad side will just disappear. And these men are so good at seeking redemption, and we want to believe them so bad. And we honestly believe that this time it's going to be different. But it never is. We moved to Melbourne, and one day he didn't come home one night, and I thought, it's now or it's never. So I left everything but my clothes, and I walked out the door. It was one thought and one action. After all these years, that's all it took, is one thought and one action. For the first time in my life, I felt like I could breathe. I vowed to myself that I would never ever allow this to happen again, because I am worthy of more. I was 21 years old, and I felt like I'd lived 1,000 lives. It's the cycle of once you go home, nothing will change unless you take action. And you surround yourself with good people, and they pep you up and they don't bring you down, and we be brave and we create our own journeys. So with this new lease of life and this new love for life, and I had this self-love and this freedom that I had always longed for, I attracted the most amazing man, and his warmth and his compassion and his love was incredible. He makes me laugh every day, most days. And he's like so sexy, right? So I'm like, who knew that guys like this even existed? I had so much baggage when I went into this relationship, and he helped me unpack it every day. It's really hard to know what's on the other side when you're getting beaten and you're living this silent life. But for me, the other side was finding love that I had only read about. And for nearly 15 years, I love him more today than ever before. We have 2 gorgeous girls. I have an amazing business that I love. I have amazing people that are by my side. And the biggest thing for me in this whole journey, I have even found forgiveness. And that is the key. One thought and one action can change anyone's life at any time, any moment. It is my hope that together we can raise as much awareness and as much money as we can. So together we can support the fantastic work of Good Shepherd. It is my hope that I can inspire women to find their freedom. It is my hope that people give whatever they can so we can continue to help these women and children. And Good Shepherd, I do believe, just give us the right avenue to help us do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Renee, and thank you for sharing your very powerful and incredible story and journey. I'd just like now to do something really special. We've received some messages of support from some of our regular contributors to Good Shepherd, which they've placed on a key, which we're going to now hang on the Christmas tree. And I'd like to invite you to join us again, Renee. And for Jade Lakali, who's our manager of the Family Violence Service, to join us. We'll read out those messages so you can get a sense of how people in the community are feeling about women and children experiencing family violence. Would you go first?
Sure, I could. Sorry, that was mine. The other side. You are not alone. Today is White Ribbon Day, November the 25th. To acknowledge domestic violence, I am a survivor, and so is my daughter.
My thoughts are with you. Keep safe. Wishing you happiness in 2014.
You are so brave for leaving. I'm praying that you will be safe now.
Never forget there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
We will continue to fight for a world where violence against women is unacceptable. So I'd now like to close by thanking everyone for coming today and to appeal to all of the generous Victorians out there to support our campaign for the Safe Families Christmas Appeal. We really need this extra money to top up our critically low funds, and we know that this emergency assistance that we can provide women and children experiencing family violence can make a real difference. Thank you. And I'd like to thank Renee very much for sharing her story with everybody. Thank you, Renee.